All right, here is a new live stream. I wanted to separate it from the previous chat because I didn't want the interview to go longer than an hour there. I'm going to wait for some of you guys to come in. I did want to just talk about where we are with the market and kind of what I'm seeing over the last few days. I know it's been a very complicated time to understand what's going on, and I wanted to address that. I did ask about Adam, Nick. I did ask him. Where did I ask him? I think it's about like 40 minute mark, give or take. He said he's not really involved with Adam. It's more of his business partner, I think. I can't remember his exact words, but I did ask him. So go take a look at that. Let me just load up some stuff here. I hadn't planned on going live, but I did want to just come on and address a few things that I saw going on with the market. Of course, with oil and all of that stuff. Let me just load a few. Let me just see here. Let's kind of scroll here a bit together, and then we'll wait for some more people to come in, and we'll go from there. Let me see here. Screen share. Let's pull this up. Hold on. There was some stuff going on here. There was some stuff going on here with mines being put in the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if we got an update on that. I just made a video just about maybe an hour before I came on to stream for the interview that kind of went over some of the updates of what's going on with that. And it's actually pretty scary. Hold on. Strait of Hormuz. There you go. Where is it? Here you go. Mine. Yeah. So like Trump tweeted about this. If Iran has put out any mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and we have no reports of them doing so, but we want them removed immediately. So if Iran did this, they don't have reports of them doing it, but if they did it, they want them removed immediately. Here's something that I didn't know. The Strait of Hormuz at its thinnest point is 21 miles, okay? But what I didn't know is the shipping lane for ships is only 2 miles wide. And if Iran were to mine that, unfortunately, that would be catastrophic for markets. And if you guys, I don't know if you guys have been watching my recent videos and updates about this. Over the last 3 days, I've made 3 videos back to back covering all of the news around what's happening with oil, because it has a direct correlation of what happens with the economy, which has a direct correlation with the stock market and the crypto market, which you and I are very much invested in, right? What you have here is oil was spiking up to $120, okay? And there was some panic going on. There was about $3 trillion lost last week in the stock market. And so Donald Trump, the president of the United States, he often looks at how good the stock market is, how good the economy is going. That's not a great correlation to look. You need to look at a lot of underlying data to really get a good sense of the economy here in the United States. But that's what he does. And when he saw the stock market going down, he wants to try to reassure people that things are, in control, and the U.S., we're almost done with our mission, whatever that mission is, in Iran. And from all of the news that I've been able to take in, I don't really quite know what the mission is. I don't think anybody really knows what the final mission is. I do know that they did kill the Iran supreme leader, and it does look like now his son is going to take his place. And Donald Trump said that would be unacceptable. So today you had more airstrikes. The Pete Hegseth, who's in charge of the Department of the DOD, Department of Defense, he basically said today was one of the hardest days for airstrikes, okay? And the hardest part is Netanyahu also said that the job's not done. So on one hand, they're kind of saying, yes, we're about to be finished here. But on the other hand, other people are saying that we're not close to being finished. And the issue here, is markets are reacting to good and bad news very quickly. And what I've noticed is retail, of course, is coming in and buying the dip. Insiders are now positioning themselves to make a market exit. Okay. And this is hanging on a very thin shelf, a thin layer. If the Strait of Hormuz is mined and you can't get oil through there, it's going to be catastrophic. Like, I don't think I've experienced an event in my lifetime, at least that I can remember, that it could lead to something really catastrophic for markets. And so I don't know how it's going to play out, but before you go jump off a bridge into the stock market and chase gains, you probably should take a second and analyze some more of that data and information, because it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. And Iran already said that they are not going to agree to a peace deal now that all of these things have been done. You also need to look at the infrastructure piece here. The problem that we have is a lot of the oil infrastructure, the water infrastructure is being blown up, both in Iran and across the Middle East. And that infrastructure will not be easily repaired. And best, it'll be weeks. Worst case, it'll be months to years, all right, to get back to full capacity. So even if the conflict ended today, right now, you are still not going to get everything up and running for quite some time. So I personally, from gathering all this information, believe that markets don't yet or are not yet pricing in truly what's going on behind the scenes. And I personally feel that oil, they won't be able to keep oil price down for long. And I think it is going to scale up. And when it scales up, inflation will scale up. And the Fed, we just got a update. The Fed is not going to reduce rates at the next meeting. There's like a 0% chance that they will do that. And when you're fighting inflation and you're fighting unemployment, and both of those things are rising, you can't cut rates. And so this is kind of where the crypto market and risk assets were supposed to be getting a boost, because if you're lowering rates, the return on bond yields are not going to be as high, and people usually will put money or borrow money and put it into riskier assets such as crypto and maybe stocks. And it doesn't feel like we're going to get that. All right, let me just switch over here and see if I can answer some questions here. Like I said, I wasn't prepared to do a live stream here. I don't have everything built out, right? There's not like something set up. I just wanted to kind of get on and have a conversation here. Not to mention any oil leaking from the tankers due to mines. Yeah, so like you won't even have ships and ship captains. They won't even go through the Strait of Hormuz if there are mines, okay? And it does look like there are mines, right? I don't know where I put that frickin' tab. Hold on, let me see here. History. Did I close it? Recently closed Windows. 1 second here. I should. Man, what did I do with it? Hold on. I had it here a second ago. Is it here? No, that's not here. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, it's right here. It's right here. Let me just load some of these windows up, and I can go through this with you guys, because I think it's important that you guys have this information like right now. Okay, and so like just to kind of verify what I'm saying here with you. Hold on. You know what? While I'm loading this, let me just give you something to watch. That way you're not just kind of sitting here watching me kind of twiddle my thumbs. I do have a few clips here. See, I'm not really organized here to do this. Hold on. Let me roll with you with this, and then I will build it.
Diana from Invest with D, what on-chain metric would convince you that the XRPL is winning?
So I think looking at that pivot, so what we're looking for is we're looking for enterprise adoption, and then we're looking to see that driving retail adoption. So first, what you want to see is you want to see like a high volume of things like tokenized treasuries, tokenized equities, stable coins. You want to see a lot of that. But then what we're going to look for is we're going to look for lending as another example. Like we want to see those things, but those things could to some extent just be using the ledger as like a database. What we want is them to use it as a sort of common pool of value. And so then what you're going to start to look for is like, are people taking these tokenized treasuries and then deciding that they want exposure to a portfolio of loans? And so they're trading one for the other. And so the fact that the two are on the same system generates some value. So looking for that sort of cross-pollination. You know, when Ripple first did payments, we had to find companies in pairs, like someone sending and someone receiving, because otherwise you have a sender and there's nobody receiving, and then you got a receiver, there's nobody sending. Imagine if, like on the internet, you had to bring, like you had to bring the product and the customer. Like the reason the internet is so great is because the customer's already there. And so we need the world where like all
right, you know, if you want to watch this video, you know, I made a video earlier today with that information in it. You can go take a look. So here, this is what I wanted to show you. This morning, markets were doing a little bit better. They were in the green because, you know, they were saying that this conflict in the Middle East was coming to an end. This is what when I said that insiders are dumping stocks, this is what I was talking about. Insiders continue to dump stocks at a rapid pace. So right now, retail is holding the bag. And this is why I'm telling you, you know, be very careful. Obviously, you should talk with your financial advisor. But usually when you see institutions dumping and retail buying, you know, that's not going to be a great case for people holding the bag. There's a 0% chance, like I said, 99.4% chance rates stay the same. You cannot drop rates at in the current climate. Inflation is ticking up. Gas prices have gone up 50 cents in a week here in the United States. And, you know, it's not so this is what I'm saying. Like you can Trump can come out and say that, you know, everything's coming to an end, but like he does contradict himself. One minute he'll say something like it's coming to an end. And the next minute he'll say, maybe we're going to send in ground troops. Right. So the message is not very clear here about what the goals are. Like, was the goal to replace the regime? Was the goal, you know, to destroy infrastructure? Was the goal to, again, remove the nuclear program? We don't know, right? The goal kind of keeps shifting and people can't really figure it out. So it's hard to know how long we're going to be there for, right? And what we're trying to accomplish. So until that is set, everybody is really confused. And so this is what the problem here is. Now that all of this stuff has happened, Iran has been kind of planning for this war for a few decades. And the US doesn't really have manufacturing set up for a long out drawn conflict right now. And so you have so much weapons and ammunition saved up. But if you are going to do something for a continued basis at a high rate of pace, you're not built for that right now. So you also have the statement comes as Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu says that we're not done. So this is showing you that the conflict is not going to be over anytime soon here. U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth said today that it will be the most intense day of airstrikes in Iran. The UAE's largest oil refinery, Ruas, has shut down over the drone attack, right? And then Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Iraq have cut production 6.7 million barrels per day. So you're getting production cut at unseen levels, and there's no end in sight here. There's no determined date where this production will be brought back online. That is the problem, right? And we know from information that we've gathered here over the last few days that they only have so much. And so the Iranian foreign minister says U.S. officials are posting fake news to manipulate markets. Absolutely. I actually agree with this. They, you know, when you saw oil going from $55 a barrel a few months ago to $120 per barrel, and you saw the stock market losing trillions of dollars, you're going to say and do everything to correct those markets because people are panicking. And so coming out and saying that the conflict is almost over, we're almost done, that kind of cooled markets, right? That cooled oil prices, that cooled, what's it called? I think this is, you know, I personally believe that this is a little bit of manipulation. You might not agree, but I want to put my thoughts down here. You know, this is something that I believe is going to happen. And so I would like to be able to come back in a week, in a month from now and say, this is what I thought was going to happen. I'm either going to be right or wrong. I think you need to be careful here. It won't protect them from an inflationary tsunami they've imposed on Americans. And they're talking about oil prices. As oil prices go up, oil is basically in almost every supply chain, plastics, foams, rubbers, trying to get any product from point A to point B on a truck. It's just in almost everything. And so as the price of that goes up, everything is going to go up around it, and that's going to cause inflation. That'll usually hit about 3 months out. The next 3 to 6 months, you're going to see higher inflation here in the United States, and that'll start ticking up. Now, when I was talking about mines, I did see somebody in the chat say, "Well, this is what minesweepers are for." Absolutely, you are 100% correct. We do have ships that are there to remove mines, but the issue is once you place them in the water, you have to wait for the minesweeper to go in. And if they keep going out and putting mines in the water, how are you going to be able to get ships moving, right? You have 140 tankers sitting there on either side of the strait, and they are not being able to move. And so U.S. intelligence sees Iran taking steps to deploy sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, and it sounds big, but there's only 2 miles that actually used for shipping lanes. That's right, 2 miles. And Iran has an estimated 5,000 to 6,000 naval mines in its stockpile. They don't need all of them. A few hundred dropped into the 2 mile radius. A mine doesn't need to explode to cause chaos. The movement, once they're deployed in the water, tanker insurance rates spike, ships reroute, shipments halt, and 20% of the world's oil is choked off. So yes, you can sweep the mines, but it still might not do what you want. And then, of course, President Trump has been tweeting more about the United States taking Iran's mine ships off the map. So this is something that is starting to be talked about more. And then oil on this news spiked up again, right? So this is what I'm saying. It's not over here, right? People think this cooled down. I do believe this is going to go back up, and you're going to see $100 barrel of oil here more, sooner than later. And then, of course, there was rumor, I believe, from somebody in the Trump administration that oil tankers are going to be guided through the Strait of Hormuz by U.S. warships, and the White House hit back on that.
Yes, I was made aware of this post. I haven't had a chance to talk to the Energy Secretary about it directly. However, I know the post was taken down pretty quickly, and I can confirm that the U.S. Navy has not escorted a tanker or a vessel at this time, though, of course, that's an option the president has said he will absolutely utilize if and when necessary at the appropriate time.
All right. Also here, we did talk about this. G7 countries do have about 1.2 billion barrels of oil. That's 60 days worth of supply. Once they go through that 60 days, if they start releasing that, you got nothing. So that's where we are as far as the conflict. That stuff changes every hour. So the news and information that I'm giving you today will be different tomorrow. And I will continue to keep bringing updates on that, because I think it's very important to just have the facts and not, dive into the speculation. I've seen a lot of people kind of talking about victory and how everything is done and how things are going to go back to normal. And I think those are maybe some naive comments. It's way too soon to you've just kind of bombed everything that you can in Iran over the last few days. Why would they stop shooting missiles into neighboring countries, right? And why would they stop targeting infrastructure? You do have China and Russia that are giving Iranians target data on infrastructure and American bases and things like that. And so that is also a problem. So yeah, let's, I'll come and I'll answer some questions. Like I said, I hadn't planned to have this additional conversation. I didn't want to, I know there's no thumbnail for this live stream. This was just kind of me getting up here and having a conversation with you. I didn't have a full chat plan because of the interview that we did with Jesus, but that was a great interview. That man is just there's so much going around in his brain there. I mean, wow. his intro and all the things that he accomplished, I was, very impressed. Being able to interview, people of that caliber that are really going to reshape how the industry, operates. That was a unique experience for me. Sensei, you have chat plans? I don't. I just wanted to get up here and talk about the chat. So if I'm just going to be answering some questions before I jump off. So if you have better things to do, that's okay. I get it, man. I love you. Luna has walk plans. Yes. The time change. So right now it's actually earlier than it usually is for me. It's only 1:19. So I still got a few hours to walk my Luna. It's interesting. There's now four different people in the Cryptonaires Discord that have a dog named Luna. And so we're building our own little Luna armies. And, that's really fun. I did want to say on Friday, guys, the chat will be in the Cryptonaires Discord. I won't be doing it on YouTube. I will be doing it in the Discord, and that's going to be a little bit more intimate chat. So if you want an opportunity to maybe converse with me directly, come up on stage, ask questions, get on camera, whatever it is, that's going to be a really good opportunity. We're still, rebuilding that community, and there's not a lot of people in there. And so if you want direct access to ask me questions or converse or talk the market, I am sharing a lot of posts during the day, things that are happening in real time. So if you don't want to wait for my videos, if you want that information instantly, that's the place where you're going to get it. Let me see here. We got Tracy. Great to see you, Tracy. What's going on? We got here Bambo, Bout Money. That is a dope name. Clarity Act is 1 vote away, supposedly. Yeah, from what I understood in the Clarity Act, you have Tom Tillis, who is, I think, an independent, or is he a Republican? I don't know. He's a Republican or independent from North Carolina. I think he's a Republican. But anyways, I think that he was one of the holdouts on some of the stuff that's going on with Clarity in the White House, and the crypto industry has been trying to sit down with him to get him on board. But it does look like the Clarity is probably going to get pushed through that banking committee on party lines, which means Republicans are going to vote yes, or Democrats are going to vote no. The real issue becomes is how are you going to get it passed in the Senate without Democratic support? And maybe Democrats, some will be forced to want to vote for it, right? Maybe it'll be good for their state, and they don't want to be on record voting no for a version of the Clarity Act. Maybe it's not going to be the version they wanted, but that's the play here, right? You're either going to vote for it or you're not going to vote for it. And if you don't vote for it, you might get primaried here in November. And, Ripple and all of these guys put a lot of money into Fair Shake. Fair Shake has $195 million, and they're ready to go to war. So, it's going to be on. It's going to be on. Well, it sounds like you need to join the Discord and join the gang. We are forming a tribe of dog owners named Luna. Let's see here. Broderick, hey, Sensei, how are you? My guy, still wanting for you to come to Texas so I can cook for us. Best barbecue we'll ever eat. Dude, I got to say, there is a barbecue place here, and it's called Texas Barbecue something. And it's probably the best barbecue I've ever had. And it blew my mind. I was at a card game with some friends, a few months ago, and they ordered barbecue from this place, and I couldn't stop eating it, man. It was so good. And so I'm going to take you up on that one day. There's a few things that I've never been to Texas other than the airport, which is not really, being there. And, I'm going to keep that in mind, Broderick. I'm going to keep that in mind, man. Thank you. How do you get into Cryptonaires? That's a great question, man. I should have probably led with that. Let me go ahead and give you the link to join. It is free, man. So it's not like, there's I don't know if you'll be able to get there. Hold on. Let me give you the actual hard link for it. I do have it saved here. Yep. I got it right here. It should be in the description of the video too. But it's also right there. I don't know if you're going to be able to click on that. But we'd love to have you, man. Let me bring it up on the screen here too. So, you know, this is how many members it has. There definitely should be a link in the description, but I'll post it again. But yeah, love to see you in there, man. Rusty, great to see you, dude. What's up? He's Republican. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, she's referring to Tom Tillis. I wasn't sure if he was a Republican or independent, but Tracy confirmed he's a Republican. So I think he was a holdout, right? And I think that's maybe what's his name was talking about. So Winterby, I think Tether will be banned before clarity passes. Why? Why do you think it'll be banned? Like if they were going to be banned, wouldn't they have been banned under Genius? Like Genius Act was the Stablecoin Act. They're a stablecoin company. I haven't heard anything about Tether being banned in the US, at least not yet. But if there's something that you have, Winterby, I'd love to see it. Like you can email me, or if you want to join Cryptonaires and share it in the general chat. I'd love to take a look at that, man. I kind of geek out on some of that stuff. Recon, what's up, dude? Great to see you. 2 weeks to X Money launch. You know, I don't know if you saw my video on X Money, but I dug into this. You know, I know a lot of people are saying Cross River Bank, you know, X Money is going to run on XRP. I don't agree with that. You know, I don't. I think people are, you know, wanting clicks. You know, before we got more information on X Money, I thought it was a real possibility that it could be, you know, XRP. Now that we have more information, I can confirm that it's, you know, Visa Direct, but it's also, I think, Solana and USDC that is going to power some of that infrastructure. Now, can they go cross border with Cross River? It sounds like it. Sounds like they could, but that Cross River collaboration, I believe it's from like US to EU. I think it is. So it's not like the whole, you know, it's not the whole world, right? It's not every transaction Cross River Bank is doing. And so I think you just, you know, if something changes and I get more information and I can see things a little bit more clearly, of course, I'd be happy to, you know, update my opinion on it. But as it stands right now, I don't believe that that's Ripple or that's XRP. Personally, I do think you're going to be able to like send your friends Bitcoin or XRP or Doge or things like that. I think it'll have that capability. But if you're talking about every transaction is like an XRP transaction, that's not going to be it. Now, it makes sense that you would have like a blockchain in the background doing all that stuff. But, you know, Elon, I guess, is more leaning into legacy systems like Visa, which who would have thought, right? I mean, you're trying to build a new platform to, you know, do something different from legacy systems. And then you partner with the legacy system, right? You partner with the Visa network. I don't know. I don't know, man. Elon's a weird dude. Trump opening an oil refinery per his post an hour ago. That's great. That's great. Opening up an oil refinery is good. How long does it take to build an oil refinery? Let's go ahead and find out that information. I'd imagine it'll take years. Trump just posted the U.S. is going to open an oil refinery. How long does it take to build one from scratch? Let's say an express timeline. I'd imagine years. Full scale, new U.S. refinery from scratch, express timeline, 3 to 5 years. All right, that's not going to help us anytime soon. You got to do studies, you got to do permitting, you have to do engineering, you have to do construction, you have to do startup, breaking this down from big plant feasibility, maybe 6 to 12 months, engineering 12 to 18 months, construction and install 18 to 36 months. So that is great. We need more infrastructure here in the United States, but that's not going to help anytime soon. You know, so like, I think I think we're just clutching at straws here. Honestly, was there a plan past bombing Iran? I don't know. If there is, I haven't seen it yet. And I mean, I don't mean to be a dick about it or whatever, but like, I don't think some of the things that we do, we think through very well. And I don't even think they know what they want to accomplish at this point. So this will take a while. And there's going to be max pain to come. There's no doubt about it in my mind that max pain is about to come. I cannot see this working out with inflation not spiking and with part of the world now being shut down. I was doing some research the other day on, what was it? I think it was like Taiwan, right? Taiwan, Japan, India, a lot of these countries rely heavily on oil from the Strait of Hormuz. And I think Taiwan specifically, USMC, it was Taiwan and South Korea. And so some of the the chips that go into AI are made at USMC in Taiwan, and some of like the RAM and things like that are made in South Korea. And something like 90-something% of their oil comes from the Strait of Hormuz. And if you cannot get oil, you cannot power the factories that make the chips that you need to build out the data and AI centers, right? And so it really, like, if you take a look at the US economy, okay, most of the spending that you're seeing GDP-wise is money being spent into AI and infrastructure. If you cannot get the chips, you cannot build the infrastructure. So the one thing really kind of propping up US GDP right now is AI. And so this really has like a full circle effect that most people are not quite seeing that yet. And it's going to become blatantly obvious very, very quickly. And, I think there was like the UK with liquid natural gas. They only had a few days worth of reserves. I mean, there's going to be more pain to come later this week. I wouldn't be surprised if oil starts going back up, but, we'll see how it plays out. It's always difficult to get up here and to tell you, where I think things are heading and when they're not good. It's uncomfortable. And obviously I could be wrong here, but I think I don't think I am. It's gonna be rough. I'm trying to think of another time when the Strait of Hormuz was closed for a longer period of time and what that would do to the U.S. economy, like not just the U.S. economy, but global economies. And yeah, now, could it be good for crypto? There could be capital flight from stock markets into crypto. Sure, absolutely. A lot of the money, I'd imagine, will go into bonds, because bonds are still at like record highs. If you look at US, you look at Japan, you look at China, investors will be going to safety, and it'll probably be in the shape of bonds. Can Tether pass an audit? Probably not, Eric. That's why they've been around since 2014, and we've never seen an audit. It's hard to trust what they say when they haven't really shown, and I think that's why they've really kind of tried to stay out of the US. Like, isn't their office in like some third world country? Like, where is Tether's office? Is it El Salvador? Hold on. Where is Tether's main office? Is it? I thought is it like El Salvador or something like that. Hold on. Yeah, look at this, El Salvador. I mean, sure, you're probably doing something legal if your office is like, I don't know. It just seems a little suspect to me. But hey, we'll see, man. Like they have the opportunity to prove people wrong. Like, if you are a company and the one largest thing that people complain about is, maybe an audit to show you have the reserves. Just do the audit, right? You're spending billions of dollars on gold. You're spending billions of dollars on Bitcoin or whatever, but you can't spend $10 million on an audit. It just looks suspect and it looks fishy. And the US probably won't do anything because Tether is one of the largest buyers of treasuries that there is. And so outside of a country, what is the US going to do to them? I don't know. Hutchins in Texas is the best barbecue he's ever had. Love that. Sensei, Trump is God. Come on, man. I get that. I get that to a lot of people. He is the person that, you love, and the things that he says and the things that he does. I just don't have that effect. He doesn't have that effect on me. I personally don't care. I don't know, man. You take a look around at the economic policy in the United States. Tell me something good that's happened in the last 12 months. The tariff policy was catastrophic. It was supposed to create jobs. It didn't do that. It was supposed to bring back manufacturing. It hasn't done that yet. Everything that it was supposed to fix, it made it worse. I can't remember if it was like 600 or 6,000 tariff policy. Like there's been just an enormous amount of policies in the last, since April 2025, and companies, they cannot plan. And now they might have to refund most of the money, right? And so, there's supposed to be tariff checks. There were supposed to be Doge cut checks. There were supposed to be $600, inflation reduction checks. There were supposed to be so many things that were promised that just never, ever happened. So that's why, when somebody when he says stuff, I don't take it at face value. I wait for, he'll say anything to get people, to listen and pay attention, but there's really no follow-up. It's just kind of an open conversation. And so I just don't take it at face value, man. Like you need to wait. Trump said weak money makes money, but I don't understand that. He's a little confusing, man. Honestly, you should do your videos as your lives, and then a lot of people wouldn't be like this guy again with the bullshit. Don't quite know what you're talking about. You mean like, I'm not sure if this is like you're trying to be nice to me or not nice to me. Either way, it's fine. I know that I have strong opinions, man. In other words, watch your last 3 videos, then watch this live. It'll make sense. Can you just be more direct? What are you trying to say? Because I'm still lost. Are you trying to talk about the last 3 videos I did about the oil and the economy? Or are you talking about XRP content? Bossa Nova, I'd really love you to just be direct here with me, man. The unemployment rate, it's not going well. Winter B, do you know? I don't know. He's the ultimate spin doctor. He is. He knows how to control the media. He knows all this stuff. I'm just, I'm really worried about the US economy. I'm really worried about it, man. I appreciate you, man. Agree to disagree. We're here for crypto. I get it. I get it. Listen, I get it. Like all of this stuff comes back to crypto, I think just it's all hitting. It's all hitting at the same time. And I think spending this much time going over all this data, you see where it's going, right? You know where it's going. And I don't think people have priced that in yet in their heads. And it's very serious. And I just worry about you guys. Are we talking about the Senate bill that allows stablecoins? Is that what we're talking about? Tax cuts, close the border, deportations, lowest crime since 1920, Stop date wars. I can go on. You love the talking points. Tax cuts. Okay, I understand that. Close the border. Absolutely. He made a much better job than the previous administration. I'll agree with you on that. I don't agree with the deportations on a lot of the stuff, like who they're targeting, but I can understand why that's beneficial to you. Lowest crime since 1920. I'd like to fact check that. But 8 wars, hasn't he started like 8 wars or bombed 8 countries or something? I don't know if that he just started a war. So how's he stopping wars? I don't quite get that. I try to move away from the hype, man. I get it though. I appreciate you. Lower crime is a very important thing, you know. Very important thing. I get it, right? Maybe we're splitting hairs, right? Maybe we're splitting hairs. Rusty says, Sensei, do not get too worried about people lashing out here. They're all hurting with crypto loss at the moment. You know, I think we're all hurting in some ways, man. You know, it's a very uncomfortable time, right? We don't know how all of this is going to turn out, you know, and that worries me, right? Like we have just like we're on the cusp of something so great in the crypto market, and you would think markets would be roaring right now with all the regulators on our side. And you know, it's not like what maybe it should be, right? We didn't really have a bull cycle, you know, outside of, you know, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, and Solana pumping. And why not? You know, why didn't we have a bull market with all of these incredible things happening? Like, I don't think people have really kind of dissected why that is. And that's mostly due to the economy, right? And so it's gonna be really difficult over the next few months. You're gonna pay more for everything, and that's gonna have an impact on your life, and that's going to force more people not to invest in crypto. And that's the frustrating part for me. And I think I'm still processing that in real time. And it's kind of strange that, you know, maybe I'm doing that live with you here, right? And maybe you're kind of seeing the honesty from me about these topics that maybe you don't see in some of the content, right? And you know, that's just stuff that I'm dealing with in my head, and I'm kind of playing it out with you here. Let's see here. Conflicts between Israel and Hamas, Israel, Iran, Pakistan, and India, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, Thailand and Cambodia. So hold on. Thailand and Cambodia, that stopped and started. That stopped and started. Isn't Israel bombing Hamas as we speak? Israel's bombing Iran as we speak. Oh, you're talking about Israel-Iran version 1, not version 2. Okay, I get it. So does that count as 2, or is that still 1? I think we see the world so differently, Os, okay? Yeah, I saw this today too, man. I saw this today too. Now, that shows you too, though, that XRP holders are they're holding. They believe in the asset long term. And it's an uncomfortable place for them to be right now. And I get that. You know, I see, like, in December, you know, we were doing maybe 5.5 million views on YouTube. And now we're doing maybe like 3. And so half the views are gone in 3 months because most people have left the market. And it's probably the worst time somebody could leave the market. Why? Because you have some of the best prices that you've ever had in the last 2 years. Okay. You also have maybe the Clarity Act passing, maybe the headwinds from that. You have every regulator in the US putting out guidance for financial institutions, for neobanks, for OCC charters, for stable coins, for the development of the industry, right? We are there. We just need another push. The technology hasn't changed. The adoption of the technology hasn't changed, but the sentiment around the space has changed. And a lot of people look back at this time and realized what an opportunity they screwed up, right? And that's tough, because you want to see all of these people do well. You want to see them successful. You want to see them, live their good life. And it's difficult when we get in our own way of those things. And it's tough, man. So Bald Eagle says Trump needs to end this whole thing quickly. In the UK, because of him attacking Iran, our petrol price is now gone to $1.55 a liter, and is now the US would be $9 a gallon. Yeah. So this is part of the stuff I've been talking about, right? He's not thinking about that. He's not even thinking about this country's gas prices, right? So he's definitely not thinking about England or Germany or South Korea or Taiwan. So the uncomfortable truth here is there is no end in sight, and it's going to get worse, right? The information I went over in today's video about the market, if you look at the data from the last 2 days, you know that it's not ending soon. You know that it's getting worse, right? And so where does it end? And what is the plan to have it end? And can you get Iran to agree to whatever terms, right? You've done everything to tilt these people to not accepting any of your terms. So how do you get them to the table when you can't even agree on who they picked as the leader? Like it's just not something that's going to end soon, right? They're dug in. A lot of their missiles and things that they've been building, saving for 10 years, 20 years is underground that the US can't reach. And so the only way the US would be able to get all of that destroyed is they'd have to go boots on the ground. And we all have kind of relived. If you're around in the 2000s, you remember what happened in 2001. You remember what that led to, right? A lot of pain and decades of fighting. So there is no easy solution right now, is what I'm trying to tell you. And yeah, it's going to be difficult, man. I know. I don't know. I think it's just kind of, it's scary, Tracy. I'm worried. I'm really worried. I don't usually feel this sense of worry. But like the more data I'm taking in, the more points of view that I'm looking at, it's troubling. And if you've watched me for a few years and you show up to all my live streams, right? This is me worried. So, yeah. Gas here in Hawaii, probably, $4 to $5. I don't drive much, and my car is mostly electric. I do have a hybrid car that has a gas engine, but I maybe I fill it up, once a month or something. Like I just not in my car very much. So I can't even tell you. I think maybe like $5 for premium gas. I know in California it's about $6, maybe $7. It's starting to go up. And so, yeah, I can't imagine where it is in some like UK, $9 a gallon. That's crazy, man. Yeah, about $5. $5. Always love the good vibes, motivation hero. Thank you so much. But you know what though? What I do love is that I love that I feel comfortable enough to get up here and talk to you guys about this. You know, even though it's challenging, and I even know that there's people out there that don't agree with maybe some things that I'm saying. I still think that it's a beautiful thing that we can disagree on some finer points, but we overall want to get to the same place. So, you know, I greatly, you know, even though OSOK and maybe a few other people don't quite agree with the way that with it, I think it's a nice thing that we can still have these conversations and try to maybe see each other's opinions on some of this stuff. So thank you. I think they're just not too used to serious Sensei. Yeah. Yeah. You guys, that's all I have to lean on, man. That's all I got. My whole life is you guys now. We're going to get there one day. Oh, it's okay. We're going to get there one day, man. When I'm depressed, I buy more. So I bought more H-bar. I bought more H-bar yesterday. I did. And I bought more I bought him $1,000 more of H-bar like a week or two ago. H-bar under 10 cents. Yes, please. You know, like the four assets that I've heard more people talk about recently: Canton Network, Flare, H-bar, and then of course XRP. But you know, I have a decent amount of XRP, and so you know, I could DCA a bit some more. You know, I have been adding more H-bar. I've been adding more Flare. I've been adding a little Canton. I think that's probably where I'll keep adding here over the next few weeks. Winterby has a court case he's referring to above. Can you snap a photo of that, Oriana, and just text it to send it to me on Discord? I'll take a look at it. Let's see here. New rule: all politician leaders must reside in the war zone until the war ends. Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't there'd be a whole lot less wars, Marlon. There'd be a whole lot less wars, my friend. And man, it's just it's scary, man. You know, it's scary, man. I think maybe it would be good if we bought some of these politicians a dog, you know, and maybe just had the dog with them. Maybe it would kind of ease up on their decision making. Who knows? Maybe we'll get them a dog named Luna. Yeah. So Eric Mitchell says $9 a gallon. Looks like I am not driving anymore. Bicycle only, I guess. Man. Where'd I get this XRP stand? I got this on Etsy, actually. You know, it's just plastic. You know, it's not super fancy. Maybe it was like, you know, 15, 20 bucks on Etsy. But yeah. Did you see this though? This was the latest edition I added. You know? I also got some you know, XRP you know, I don't know what the heck those things are called. Gas here in Connecticut is $3.75. Man, that sounds cheap. I look worried, try not to worry. Man, I'm trying not to. I'm gonna need more therapy, I think. Sensei, you shouldn't worry too much with things that you can't control. Just remember, everything happens for reasons. People will hurt, but people will be better off in the end of this. You're probably right. You know, I'm working on my emotions. You know, sometimes they do get a hold of me. And you know, that's stuff that you process and you try to deal with. Yeah, Luna does pick me up. So yeah, Canton's good. Like they have some really, like, you talking about institutional adoption. Yeah, it's serious, man. And they use a lot of their fees to buy back and burn the token. You know, they got a pretty good model there. Yeah, that's a serious project. They're doing, I think, like 300 billion a day in repo. That's a serious one, man. Like very serious. DTCC approved. Absolutely. Rob says Chainlink's at a great price. I mean, Chainlink is important infrastructure, man, for real. Let's take a look here at some of these prices together while we're just here shooting the shit. Bitcoin was over 70,000 just under now, up 2% for the week. XRP was at $1.43 earlier. Now it's just at $1.38. Solana's at $85. Who the heck is buying Tron? Seriously. Look at this. Dogecoin is up 4% because people, X money is launching and people think it, you know, Doge. I would, you know, Doge is not really a cross-border payments token. I mean, people are smoking rocks, I think, but all good. Hyperliquid's up 8.85%, of course. Chainlink, here you go. $8.98 for Chainlink at 6 billion. That is good. Here's Canton, 15 cents. Canton, CC, this is what you're looking for, my man. 5 billion market cap. If Canton goes to 100 billion, it's a 20x. 100 billion, 20x. Lots of opportunity, man. If you got dry powder, man. I think what you just had BlackRock buying Uni, right? Uniswap. Clarity should give DeFi a big kick, big boost. And you know, if BlackRock's buying it, they could buy anything, and they're choosing to buy Uniswap. If you get another few hundred million people, if you get retail back in the crypto space, Uniswap is one of the main dexes in the world, like one of the biggest, right? So obviously long-term play, that's good. How is it going to perform in the short term? I can't tell you. But if you're looking, you know, years down the line, remember BlackRock buys thinking 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the line. So they're investing in the infrastructure for DeFi, and that's what that buy is. I think with politicians, you need term limits, man. You cannot be going for 25, 30 years. Like once you get to a certain point, you just need to check out. Like, I don't know. Like I just see a lot of older people in the Republican side, the Democrat side, people that have been there for too long. You know, you need new people, new ideas, right? Younger generation. Because that's who's going to still be around in 30 or 40 years. So all the decision making that you're going to do right now, if you're freaking already 70 to 80 years old, right? A lot of the things that you're putting in for the rest of the population, you know, you might not live to see fruition, right? You might not live another 20, 30 years. So I think that we need to have some limits around who should be able to represent and, you know, So here, Bald Eagle says, if Trump is trying to make his dominance global in energy and nuclear, and at the same time taking out the Islam regimes, I'm okay with that. But in the meantime, it's affecting us in the UK and Ireland. And I think that's the hard part, right? I think there's a lot of people who are okay with removing some regimes that are doing harm, right? Terrorism, those types of things. But the consequences of that are now, you know, you might be replacing somebody. The person that might comes in to replace them might be even worse, right? And so where's the balance there? And what are you going to do now that markets are going to be in a state of shock, right? Like I saw that JP Morgan, an analyst there, predicted that the S&P could fall 10%. And I don't know exactly how much that would be, but I would imagine, I think that's about $10 trillion loss for the S&P, something like that. You know, I'd imagine 7, 8, 9 trillion. So I don't know what the exact number is, but it would be significant. So who knows if that's going to play out, but it would be a big one. So Boss Kong here has a strong opinion. He says, I swear y'all people are delusional. Ignorance is really bliss. That y'all really think Iran's isn't a problem. Okay, this is why we need adults like Trump and Rubio, etc., in office. They protect a lot of people. Fair enough. Appreciate your opinion. I guess we'll see, right? I guess we'll see. Like the hard part is the argument that 8 months or whatever you bombed Iran in the first place, right? You said that you wiped out their nuclear program, but then now you're using that as a reason that you just bombed them again, right? So you either did wipe them out or you didn't wipe them out, right? Which one is it? If you didn't, why did you say you did, right? And so people are just having a hard time figuring out what is the goal here, right? You want to go and wipe some people out and do that kind of stuff, fine. But what is the end result? What are we trying to get to so we can know where the finish line is, right? I think that's what we're looking for here, right? And you can say that, hey, it's good that we take these people out, but as long as you're fine with 5%, 7% inflation, as long as you're fine paying, $7 to $10 for a gallon of gas, as long as you're fine, paying even higher prices for everything right now. Like if you're good with that, just keep that attitude and that frame of mind. But you can't have it both ways, right? You cannot stop the flow of oil for weeks or months and not expect higher prices. So they're the adults in the room, but they're going to cause a lot of pain, not just here in the United States, but globally because of higher prices, right? So like that's the challenge. And I think that's where maybe I disagree with some of what you're saying, but I appreciate your opinion and thank you for sharing it. Dangerous Dave says, my portfolio may be down this year, but I've never felt more optimistic. I love that, Dave. Thank you. Hopgrasser, love you too, man. Thank you. Appreciate you. Dude, I don't know, man. I don't have anything good or bad to say about ZBIC. I don't know anything about it. I hear a lot of people talk about it sometimes. I've heard positive things. I've heard negative things. It's just not my cup of tea, man. I would rather buy Canton or HBAR or Flare or XRP than buy ZBIC. That's my personal feeling. And I don't know. I haven't seen any big news from them recently. And I don't know. They've got some interesting partnerships, but so does, half the crypto industry. And interesting partnerships don't separate you from leaders in the industry and followers in the industry. And so, we'll have to see if they're able to deliver on their promises. My man here says, don't waste your money on therapy. Spend it on HBAR and ice cream. I love that. That's so good. Rusty says, Sensei, stock market and crypto markets are like energy, and it's never created or destroyed. It's just transferred in state. Your money gain is somebody's loss. I think that's a beautiful statement there, Rusty. And that's an interesting way to look at it, man. That's an interesting. I think, I'm worried about the days to come. And I don't think people have priced that in. And I think that's, I really wasn't planning to do the chat today. I wasn't going to come up here, wasn't going to process all this stuff in real time, but somehow I'm here and I am doing it. And it's unusual And you usually don't see me in this unpolished state, right? I'm usually, I have an agenda. I have things to talk about. We're going to hit those up. We're going to answer questions. Very rarely do I just hit the live button without a plan. And, maybe that shows me I shouldn't do this more often. But we're in it at this point. We just got to go get through the other side. There you go. Yep. What we were talking about earlier. Iran begins laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. There it is. Not good. Not good, yo. Man, I am 10 minutes behind on the chat. Hold on. Let me just squeeze up here. Boss King says, when Biden was in office, he was trying to ruin the trucking industry, and I didn't complain, just kept pushing through. These gas prices are less of worries, bro. Fair enough, man. The great thing about here is, boss, if we're successful, I get to eat my words and I get to be wrong here, right? But I personally think this is a larger issue, right? And so me coming on here and at least telling you this stuff, at least we can go back and say, hey, before this stuff got really bad, Sensei kind of told me what was going to happen here. And, knowing that he was probably going to get a lot of pushback from a portion of the community, he still got up here and told me what was difficult for him to say, right? And that's all I want you to know here. Like, obviously, both sides of the aisle, man, have tons of problems, and it's not a perfect system, right? And one side does something better than the other side, absolutely, man, right? I don't think we're really here to say one side is better than the other. I think we're here to just say that we're in this moment right now, and we can look back on history, great. But where we are right now, where are we going to be in a week from now? Where are we going to be in a month from now? Right. And what you need to properly prepare for those things. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to give you that information so you can prepare. Big Kahuna, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Dude, that guy's wicked smart. That guy is wicked smart, and is real honored to be able to have the time to spend. I didn't know some of those things that he had done in his past. And it's always an interesting thing when you get to interview somebody of that caliber, and you can see the passion and the drive and what he wants to do for the industry. And you need people like that. You need free thinkers. You need people who can think outside the boundaries of traditional thought and how that they're going to, take firelight and flare it and kind of expand it into their vision of what this DeFi insurance market should be, and really help institutional involvement in this particular area. And so that's pretty crazy, man. Let's see here. Top Gaffa says, I bought Tangent wallets today. Have no idea how it works. Kind of scared of setting it all up. There's probably some good videos on YouTube, man, to like how to set up a Tangent wallet. Does anybody have a good place for Top Gaffa to take a look at? Any recommendations, a channel, a video? If anybody has anything for Top Gaffa, I've never set up a Tangent wallet, so I wouldn't know where to start there. But if somebody has anything to help, Ariana already kind of solved this, but if anyone has anything, hey boss, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for sharing your opinion. And I wanted to highlight what you said. Yeah, I will, man. I'm probably gonna reset here. I'm probably gonna reset here, man. Explain how good it is that crypto is being resilient right now. So I think what you're seeing with crypto is you're seeing there's little panic in markets around the world. And so if you watched my video yesterday, you saw like South Korea, Indonesia. I mean, you had, hold on, let me see. Do I have it? I think I have it. Yeah. Here. Let me show you. So here, so this was yesterday. Okay. Oh, this is March 8th. Excuse me. This is 2 days ago. Yeah. So these are markets around the world, right? And so as markets kind of deal with what's happening, you're getting a lot of panic, right? The South Korean stock market was having one of the best years it's had in a long time. I think it was up 75% before all this happened, right? And so billions of dollars were withdrawn from that market. People sold. And so some of that money is finding its way into crypto. And that's what you're seeing as there's some sell-off in some traditional markets. That money's coming, some of that money's coming into crypto. Some of that money is going into bonds, and some of that money is coming into crypto. And so that's why you're seeing Bitcoin up. That's why you're seeing XRP up a bit, Ethereum up a bit. And you might continue to see that growth. Bald Eagle says UK has the highest energy prices in the world, but that's because our own government bullshit choices. Is that because of Brexit, or is that something else? Because I don't know when it comes to UK politics or decision making. But does that have anything to do with it, or is that not a thing anymore? We just started podcasting. Would you recommend to help us out? What's your podcast about? Here you go. Curtis says, Top Gaffa, Cyber Skrilla has the best videos, I think, with wallets. There you go, man. There's your help. Tangent wallets have never been hacked. That's good, man. OSOK says UK is socialist. Just saying, the green agenda. Oh man, I have no idea. I have a good friend that lives in the UK. I should ask him, huh? Yeah, I figured you lived in the UK with your name, Top Gaffa. That sounds like a UK thing. Winter B says the world is never going to adopt crypto just because it's faster, better. It will adopt it out of necessity. Probably correct, man. You're probably right. Probably right. I'm surprised we have freaking 800 people here. A lot of people on X. 750 people on X, 126 on YouTube. It's nice to see some people coming back. Our niche is interracial relationships. I'm not sure how I can help you with that, man. Although I do have a Japanese wife that's from Brazil. Maybe I can help you with that. I'm like, I can't help you with that. Wait, maybe I can help you with that. All right, maybe send me an email about that. That's interesting. Bald Eagle says we have our own oil fields in the sea off the UK, but our government would rather sell our oil rather than use it for ourselves. It's mental. Yeah, man. I think there's a lot of choices that our governments do that a lot of people don't agree with, and it's just life, man. Unfortunately, like there's so many things that make sense that it just, they do the complete opposite, and we're left to kind of pick up the pieces, and that is crazy. Sounds like Top Gaffa could be on the podcast too. He says he's got a Mexican wife. All right, then you know what? I'm going to do this. On Friday, we're going to have a chat in the Cryptonaires Discord, okay? It is going to be absolutely free. If you want to come in, you want to jump on stage, you want to ask me some personal questions, you just want to talk crypto, that's going to be a really great place to get some kind of one-on-one time. We're hanging out there for free. If you just want to hang out during the day, talk crypto, share stories, participate in market discussions, we would love to have you a part of that. Like I said, I'm not going to be live on YouTube, on X on Friday. It's going to be in that Discord. I think 1 or 2 o'clock Hawaii time, maybe 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. I would love to have you guys be a part of that. I appreciate you showing up today and listening to my feelings and where things are. I promise when we're here on Friday next Tuesday, we'll be a little bit more polished and back to kind of news about crypto and things like that. I just really appreciate you. Thank you guys for just all your support and you know, your love and your comments and your direction. You guys keep me going through all of this. And, you know, it's an honor to spend this time with you and to grow with you. All right. From my heart. All right. All right, then. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time. Aloha.